Are you a new manager or an experienced manager who wants to check out on some good practices? Or you're a manager of managers who need to coach and then mentor a new manager? Keep watching. In this video, I'm going to tell you about 3 influential books that are going to improve your approach to management. Hi, you're watching The Leadership Journey, where I discuss leadership and management topics and books, mostly around software engineering and product development. It would help my efforts greatly if you could hit the like and subscribe buttons, or as my son would say, smash those buttons. Thank you. A few weeks ago, one of my friends asked what books I would recommend for new managers, which triggered the creation of this video. Leadership is 80 to 90% practice. Nothing beats the hands-on experience of solving all sorts of problems. We joke that humans are messy and they're able to throw you all sorts of new problems. Well, all joking aside, this is how we become better leaders. And how we use the remaining 10 to 20% is very important because it influences how we approach the hands-on part. And I rely on books, among other things, to feed myself with enough theory to experiment with. What books would I read if I were back to more than 20 years ago when I had my first leadership position? 3 names popped to my mind when I asked myself that question. Not that these books existed 20 years ago, they're all recent. The first one is The Manager's Path by Camille Fournier. The second one is The Making of a Manager by Julie Zuo. And the third one is Resilient Management by Lara Hogan. The first book that I'm going to recommend is Camille Fournier's The Manager's Path, probably because it is the first one that I read among these 3. Since its publication in 2017, it has become one of the most popular and influential books of its kind. Camille Fournier is an influential engineering leader. She wrote and edited 2 popular books. She's spoken at many events. You can enjoy some of her talks on YouTube too. One of the things I like about Fournier's book is its structure. It starts from Management 101, from the very basics like one-on-ones that we all do, right? I was speaking with a founder of a startup that has developed an engineering management tool. She said, you'd be surprised to know the number of managers and companies not doing one-on-ones. If you work for such a company, you would definitely benefit from these first chapters. By the way, the name of the engineering management tool is called CodeGem. It looked pretty good. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, so feel free to check them out. I'll put a link down in the description. After Management 101 sections, there is a chapter on mentoring, which is usually a step towards leadership positions. As the book progresses, the reader goes deeper into management, starting with tech lead, then managing people, then managing a team, followed by managing multiple teams, managing managers, and then the final being the big leagues, where we get into VP and C-level executive territory. The last chapter is about bootstrapping culture, where Fournier goes into important topics such as creating a career ladder, developing an engineering process, and promoting cross-functional teams. Our second book is Julie Zuo's The Making of a Manager. Zuo has had an impressive career. She was the first intern at Facebook. She became a manager at the young age of 25. At the time she left Facebook, she was their VP of product design. Zuo's The Making of a Manager is a different book than The Manager's Path, and it reads like she distilled her hard-won experience of her first years in her book. The book's entirety really speaks to new managers. The opening of the book actually says, great managers are made, not born, a concept that resonates strongly with me. There are many skills that contribute to the success of a manager, and we get better at them with practice, with deliberate practice and experience and retrospective. And that's what you get with The Making of a Manager. Zuo's book is structured in a very intuitive way. It starts with an explanation of what management is, followed by your first 3 months, Then the author goes deeper into some skills that distinguishes a good manager, like giving feedback, managing yourself, having good and productive meetings, hiring well, making things happen, leading a growing team, and nurturing culture. The third book that I would recommend is Lara Hogan's Resilient Management. Hogan is a management and leadership coach. She is a former VP of engineering and increasingly influential figure in leadership and engineering management circles. Her best-selling book is relatively short, but she packs a lot of good information in its 5 chapters. The first chapter is about your team. Hogan speaks very highly of the coach and trainer Paloma Medina, so it's not surprising that she starts with Medina's work on human needs. Medina organizes those needs to create the acronym BICEPS. It's belonging, improvement or progress, choice or autonomy, equality or fairness, predictability, and S for significance. In this chapter, she also has really good first one-on-one questions that you can use to get to know your team members better. And the second chapter is about growing your people. And I love the fact that Hogan goes into 4 different approaches that you will need to use when appropriate: mentoring, coaching, sponsoring, and delivering feedback. In the third chapter, Hogan discusses how to set clear expectations, where she goes into using 2 important tools. The first one is the responsibility assignment matrix, or a RACI matrix, which stands for responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed. And the second tool is the Venn diagram. Communicating effectively is the topic of the 4th chapter, and the last chapter is about a topic very close to my heart, and if you work in a startup, you would particularly appreciate this. This one is building resiliency. These books can never replace real experience, obviously. Real problem solving, real contact with people, but as leaders and managers, good theory is important to build awareness and give us tools to use and experiment with. All this talk about these 3 books and going through some of my notes have made me want to go back and reread them, at the very least some of the chapters. I hope you too will enjoy them. I'll put their links in the description. As usual, check first with your local library and support your local library. And I thank you for listening, and I truly hope to see you on another video. Until then, take care.